Hey everybody, it's Chainsaw Reacts back once again, another reaction for you guys. Today, guys, of course, we are continuing the journey of the Batman. This is the Batman Season 4, Episode 9, titled Riddler's Revenge. Now, I'm taking a long shot guess here, I'm not 100% sure, but based off the title, Riddler's Revenge, I'm going to guess that we're going to be seeing the Riddler in this episode. Watch me be wrong. Watch it be Joker or Penguin or somebody else, but I'm just guessing with that title, maybe the Riddler's going to show up. Maybe. Anyways, so last week's episode, Seconds, was pretty crazy, and I wasn't sure what to expect going in based off that title, but to see that it's what people are kind of referring to as a version of the Clock King, or their interpretation of the Clock King in regards to time and everything, and it really was getting to the point I'm like, how are they going to end this episode? Because literally he was able to reverse time and everything, and he's wanting to drop this like poisonous gas bomb or whatever on New Year's because he lost all this time, and his family's gone, his wife, his child is just gone after he was in prison and everything for making one decision, and he wasn't reversing time, and there's his son, and then Batman, Robin, Batgirl, all these people in Gotham have now died based off this bomb, and he reversed all the way back to the moment he made the decision to steal that clock, or that like really look like an expensive watch or clock or whatever that got him arrested in the first place, like the whole domino effect. He was able to reverse all the way back then. And the people are even questioning he could have still stole it later because he knew how to get around the arrest, because that's the whole point, is he was able to reverse time and everything, fighting Batman, Robin, Batgirl, and able to basically not predict, but already know what they're going to do beforehand. So it was just a really well thought out episode in regards to time and everything, and people pointing out how he wasn't a traditional villain in a sense, even though he had a really bad plan, obviously, before everything reversed back. But still, it was a very unique episode, and I wasn't expecting going in to see all that. But it was really well done. The storytelling was great, and I got to applaud the show, because it was really well done, because easily this could have been just a weird, random one-off episode, but it really dealt on some important issues, so I really appreciate that. So I'm not sure why I said issues. I'm having a difficult time getting this intro film. I'm not sure what the hell's going on with me. It delved into some deep emotional stuff in regards to losing time and everything, and you feel like you lost your family and all that kind of stuff, and your decisions, like a domino effect into other things, all that. That's what I meant to say. Anyways, I'm done talking. Let's get into this episode, guys. Season 4, Episode 9, Riddler's Revenge. Let's go, guys. Let's go.
I'll give you one last chance, old friend.
Right away.
Come on, Gorman. It's easy. Oh. Looks like you'll get the consolation prize.
I like how it's just full green suits with the question mark or whatever. Nice.
This was personal, Batman.
It seems so. Oh, that was close. That was close. Oh, shit. My God. Of course, saving him too, yeah. Of course, they're stuck in that.
You know, since this is cooking class, maybe you should have made something you can
Well, he's in school.
You can eat this.
He needs help.
Please.
Well, you're not going to. You've been sliding out of here with barely believable excuses for months. Plant allergies, frostbite.
Destroying Gorman was a pet project of mine. The pressure's too strong to swim out, and we have a very limited air supply.
That sucks.
Put this on hold. What do I have to lose?
You can't give him an F without tasting it.
You want to try it, Mr. Grayson?
He's not faking that. He's not faking that.
What is 9,857? It's how many seconds before we run out of air? The answer is Gorman. And you, Batman. At the beginning and now the end of my career. Always interested
Flashback.
in matters of the mind. Ball champ. Games, you see, were much more interesting when you were playing for something real.
You're a genius, Edward. External bio hard drives for the human brain. This invention is going to put us on the map. You're incredible.
Oh,
Not so bad.
and that's that guy.
With my business savvy and your invention, we can make a whole lot of money together.
No.
Maybe we should at least listen to what he has to offer.
And I don't plan on having some small-minded dolt profiting off my genius. So I told her about my father and all the other Neanderthals like Gorman, determined to get in my way. Soon we were ready to demonstrate our invention.
Oh,
For the president
okay.
of the university, no less.
Getting faster and faster.
It states that a particle attracts every other particle with a force that is directly proportional.
Uh-oh.
What have you done to him?
What happened?
While the blame would fall on me, and in that one moment I
That sucks.
lost my last chance to not be the Riddler. I still don't see how I fit into this.
Yeah, how does he fit into
we'll get
this?
there.
Whoa.
The world.
That's crazy. Of course. That's weird. Oh, you're locked in.
What? What have you done to my house?
Well,
I took
did
the
some
liberty to make
changes.
some improvements while you were out. I had nothing to do with what happened to you. Of course you didn't. My father hated my games too. But I think he just lacked
That's
the
why it makes it
proper
more
motivation
personal.
to play them. Incorrectly. The answer's incorrectly. Very good, Gormy.
Another one.
Forwards, it is heavy. Backwards, it is not. Do we need yet another hint? Ton. A ton.
A
T-O-N.
ton?
Sorry. What? Who are you supposed to be? I know the answer to that. The Batman. I've heard of you. Good thing you arrived. Gormy needs all the help he can get.
Locked in, of course. Yep.
Within the mirror, you must strive to find a way to stay alive.
Strive.
What is 4 plus number 5?
See, I told you.
You've just accelerated the countdown. Is an inverted image of the word south.
Oh. Thank God. Found him. Wow. Okay.
No, that's cheating, Batman. I needed toys like
Okay.
yours.
So literally him
A
being
little
there
fashion sense,
changed
too.
everything.
And I let Gorman.
Uh-oh.
As I said,
He doesn't
you were
care if he
there at the
dies.
beginning.
Yeah, and he'll be there at the
And
end.
now,
Maybe if both of us tried.
you and me work together.
Yes. Come on.
Into riddles, not jokes.
Then you're sure it was Gorman who sabotaged you?
Even
I think
you,
it's the
Batman,
woman.
could have
I
puzzled
forget her
together a
name.
Mystery this up.
Work together. Knock that debris. Come on. Come on. Come on. There we go. There we go.
Come on.
So you can take me to prison.
Better than where you were headed.
Well.
Now we put a period at the end of your life.
Exclamation point, anyone?
Another late night in the lab, Julie.
Julie.
Edward,
Mm-hmm.
You remember me.
why did I sabotage our project?
I figured she
Come on,
did. She had the controls.
It's not that hard.
I was sure.
Our little external bio hard
shit.
drives for the brain were only intended to be used one at a time.
Those random guys in question mark suits.
How'd you piece together it was my Julie who betrayed me?
Yeah, how?
Easy. Gorman was a businessman, not a scientist.
Oh, shit. There you go. That was pretty smart. Ooh, careful.
Let the police set her free.
Oh. Okay.
When is a villain not the villain?
She is the actual villain of the story. And there you have it, guys. And the title makes so much sense now, even though Riddler was getting revenge on the wrong individual, and it's the most important individual he thought that made him become the Riddler, that basically forced him to become who he is now because of how everything just fell apart. But he was actually going after the wrong person. He was blaming this businessman named Gorman, and it really was his lab partner, Julie, who screwed him over, which, when you really think about it, it makes a lot of sense that it was her and not Gorman. But in his mind, Gorman is this greedy individual, of course, because he's a businessman, of course, he's trying to profit off everything and all that. But there was a line he said that was also said in the flashback with Riddler's father that made him think of Gorman as his father, who, because his father basically treated him bad, essentially, because Riddler in the flashback was trying to play like with these puzzles and everything, and that's what he was really focused on. And his dad's like, let's play a real game. Let's play some baseball. And then he slams a ball into one of his puzzles while he's holding it. And it really shows the dynamic between Riddler and his father. And so when Gorman says a similar line, when he shows back up after they're doing some tests on things, everything just goes from there. But then Julie, because see, the way it was kind of phrased when Riddler was explaining to Batman about his origin and everything, about him growing up, and he was relating the Gorman thing to his father, the way Riddler was interpreting it, that Julie understood him and that he wasn't so much a riddle to her anymore, that she understood. But then when we actually find out a little bit later, of course, well, not a little bit later, but actually at the end of the episode, when Julie is saying, I knew you were a psychopath and I knew you would ruin any chance we would get, blah, 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 so I had to sabotage it. Because Batman makes the point, because he referenced as they're getting out of the container that there's like it's like a shipping container or whatever. I think there's like another word for it, but whatever. But he even says, the most obvious answer is kind of like right there, basically, like how could Gorman sabotage your experiment and your your device? How could he do that? He's a businessman, but can't even talk. It's been a hectic day. I apologize. But how could he do that when he is not a scientist? How would he know how to do that? Julie was right there. She had the controls to control the intensity of it as it was being tested on that president of the school or whatever. So like there was like a really important person to do this test on, and it was working until it wasn't, until it sabotaged and overheated, or it basically caused some sort of damage because the guy fell over and everything, and there's electricity sparking out of it. So clearly it was becoming too overwhelming. So of course it makes more sense that Julie did it. So she was the real villain of the episode, really. Even though Riddler, yeah, he was the villain, but it really wasn't Gorman being a villain. He's a villain in his own way, but not in a sense of this narrative and this story. I mean, I guess to an extent, from Riddler's perspective, yes, Gorman is a villain, but Julie ultimately is the one who turned Riddler into Riddler. Like, literally made him become who he is now because of her decision to sabotage and everything, and then, of course, allowing the blame to go on to somebody else and not her. So, there's that. So, I think it was interesting that it opens right away to on the ship and everything, and there's riddles throughout the whole episode, but we open with Gorman already being captured, Batman shows up, and they both get stuck in that container because literally the ship is exploding because the guy's willing to blow up his own damn ship. Gorman's out there, he hits the button on the Riddle question mark staff or whatever that Riddler has, which is interesting, and there's all these explosives, and so Batman saves, of course, Riddler. They go into a container and they get dropped down, and instead of floating back up, because it's mostly air in the actual container itself, they get stuck because there's like a part of a scaffolding or crane or whatever that falls on them that helps push them down in the first place into the ocean. Now they're stuck. So we have this whole thing about, like I said, Riddler's upbringing and everything, and then where Batman comes into play in regards to the beginning and the end, as Riddler said in that one particular riddle, like, what is at the beginning and what is at the end. And basically Gorman was there at the beginning, and Gorman's, of course, evolved in the end, even though ultimately Gorman's not the villain, but Riddler, I don't know how, I guess Riddler was so because see, Riddler's a smart guy. You would think he would have figured it out, but he was so infatuated with the fact that it's Gorman who was the villain. He's the bad guy. He's the one who did this to me, not realizing it was Julie. So I feel like that's probably what it was. He just wasn't thinking clearly because he saw Julie as this girl that really cared for him, not realizing she's the villain in this. She's actually the bad guy. But then going into seeing what I'm assuming is during the time period before the show, I'm assuming based on the fact that Gorman was kind of like another costume freak, like he had no idea that was this was the Batman. Because Batman saves Gorman and everything when he goes into his house, and there's question marks and everything, and Batman shows up and he sees a Riddler chilling, right? Doing these tests on Gorman and everything, or these riddles and everything, and he's going to kill him and all that. And so Batman, of course, stops him. Well, actually, no, he didn't stop him because, just kidding. I thought for a second he did. Sorry. He stopped him at the end, of course. But Riddler got away, pre-Riddler, but he's like, you changed things that night because that changed the whole dynamic because he wasn't prepared for Batman to show up. But I'm assuming based on Gorman's response, that this was before Batman became more of a public figure, because when we started in season 1 of the Batman, he was still a myth at the beginning of the show. So I feel like it was before that time. I could be wrong. There could be some sort of like explanation, or the showrunners or the writers explain that no, actually this in fact happened during season 1. We just never saw it or whatever. But I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just presuming it's before the time when everything started to change, because now at the end of the episode when Batman and Robin are leaving, and they're leaving Julie still tied up, saying let the cops handle it because she should be arrested too for what she did or whatever. But I don't know. Maybe that's his thinking. But the cops just like, okay, bye. And by the way, the cops look exactly the same in their faces. But anyways, are they twins? Maybe. But they didn't stop Batman or Robin because the whole dynamic shifted. But I'm assuming that flashback sequence with pre-Riddler, with Gorman and everything, that was before. That's my guess. But interesting. Riddler thought this was the end for him, and maybe this is the end of seeing the Riddler on the show. I'm not 100% sure, but the way they were kind of implying it, of course, before he found out that Julie was actually the one who sabotaged everything, he thought this was the end of him being the Riddler. This was it. This is his swan song. He's done, you know? I don't know. Like, it's interesting that they found a cool story, and I'm trying to think back on the Riddler's origin, and there's been a variety of origins throughout different iterations of the character. I like this story that they explained for him and how it was really personal. But then it expanded because, see, it wasn't like he was going after Gorman this entire time of being on the show. He's only been on the show for a couple times, but when he's appeared, it's not been tied, at least not necessarily as I know, to Gorman before now. So it seems that he was always building up to this, because there was that line he threw out, and I think it was just a line to explain that he allowed Gorman to get some success before he was able to take it all away because it would hurt more. So I feel like the reason they threw that line is because, well, we've had Riddler pop up before, but he's never mentioned Gorman. He's never mentioned his past. Then again, we don't always need a villain to explain their origin or their past, but he's never went after Gorman, this character, before now. So let's throw this line in, like, I was allowing him to have some success, so when I take it all away from him, it's going to hurt him more. Which is actually not a bad line, but it also explains why whenever he's appeared, it has nothing to do with Gorman until now. So, smart. So overall, this was definitely an interesting episode. I was right. Riddler was in the episode. I was just being stupid at the beginning. But I'm glad that I got through the episode and got this all actually filmed. Thankfully, I was able to actually get it filmed. I don't know why I was just struggling with the damn intro. It's weird. I struggle with intros, but then I mostly can get through reviews pretty fine without having issue. And they're longer. You know, you would think the intros would be easier, but they're actually harder than the reviews. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I actually see the episode and everything, and I'm able to actually just express my thoughts and get them out there. And it's kind of all over the place in terms of like covering this aspect of the episode, then jumping over here towards the end, then back in the middle. So it's not really in chronological order of how the episode progressed, but still able to get through it. But yeah, so enjoyed the episode. We're getting close to the end of season 4. It's kind of crazy. We're almost getting to the end of the Batman. Of course, we still have season 5 to get through, but it's crazy that we're getting close to the end of this series. It's been an incredible journey so far, and I thank you guys so much for supporting the videos. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and support the channel. And always is that playlist for the Batman that's always in the description as well. I'll probably start promoting that a little bit more to kind of help push the playlist a little bit more before we end the series, so you guys are caught up or go back on older videos to check out in case you want to rewatch some. That'd be grateful. It's been an incredible journey, guys, so far. Thank you guys so much for supporting, and I really enjoyed this episode, and I cannot wait to get to the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will talk to you guys soon. Peace out.